So recently I moved to Ecuador in South America, and I've been here for about 2 weeks, and it's very different living in a third world country. I've lived in South Korea before for a few years. I've lived in the UK, that's where I'm from, and it's completely different. And I mean that because it's a poorer country, you see things that you don't usually see coming from maybe the UK or from Korea or Japan. Day by day, I'm getting more used to seeing people on the street begging for money. You see that in every country, but seeing children approaching cars, doing little performances to try and get money for pennies, people getting on buses to shout and sell things, and again for pennies, people's things being robbed and stolen on the regular. Just the other day I was on a bus and I hear a woman shouting "Robando, Robando," because someone had just come on the bus, stolen the phone and run off. And that's not the sort of thing that I'm used to seeing. And being in a country like this and being in this position, I'm lucky to have a decent job over here, but you can't really escape the reality when you're living here, because you never forget how privileged you are when you live here, because you're always reminded of poverty. You see it on a day-to-day basis. My girlfriend's lived here her whole life, so she's a bit more desensitized to it than I am, but I still find it difficult to see children come up to me and ask for money. And sometimes I have children come up to me when I'm eating, maybe in a mall or something, and asking for food. And just being in third world country just hits different, because everything feels older. Like, people pay with cash around here most of the time. Things are a lot cheaper. Like, people get taxis all the time. People pay coins for buses, and people don't really cook with a lot of processed food, because over here processed food's a lot more expensive, because commercialism hasn't reached the same level that it's reached in the UK or in other countries like America. And I think when I came here at the beginning, I wasn't too thrilled, because obviously living in Korea and living in the UK, I thought some way it would feel like a huge downgrade, right? Because I have the spoiled Western mentality, I can't really help it. But as time is going on, it's still hard, certain things, but it's getting easier. But I'm starting to realize more and more the privilege that I have being here, and like, not the privilege I have to be here, I mean that's also a privilege, but the privilege that I have in the West. Well, I'm more West here than I am in England, but you know what I mean, in the more developed countries. And I think we get very caught up in our day-to-day in England or wherever, and we get focused on very small things, and we have it really good over there because we don't have to struggle on the street for money. We don't have to, well, sometimes people come on buses and sometimes they don't have a leg or an arm, and they're trying to sell bracelets for like $1 or something less than that. And like, that's normal over here. It's not something that, well, it's not something that we're used to. And I hope that being here will give me a lot more appreciation for everything else, having these experiences and being here, because I think like I'm slowly, very, very slowly, like not yet, detaching from a lot of the ideas that I think you need to have a good life. Because a lot of these people here, I don't know, they struggle a lot, but I think they're happy, I see people on the street with their little carts and they're selling empanadas for very cheap, and they're making all that money, keeping all that money to themselves, because they have formal work here and informal work here. And I can sense that it's a very satisfying, rewarding job, but they have to work really, really hard. And it's just different, because a lot of the problems also I had in Korea, where I was very concerned about how I looked and making everything like Instagrammable, and as you know, Korea is very superficial, and over here, not so much. And people don't really carry their phones around here as much, not for that reason, but also because theft and robbery is very common. So if I don't have my phone with me, then there's less chance that I'm gonna have my stuff nicked, and that has happened before while I was here last time. Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I never thought I would come here, and it wasn't my first choice to come to a third world country. Just, I'm not that adventurous where I would just come on my own volition. But I think, well, I hope coming here will be a good experience overall for myself and the way I think and just my development as a person. Because like, it's kind of like in Batman, the first film, where he has to try and learn to be stronger. So he strips himself of all his wealth and he goes to all these other places and puts himself in difficult situations. Kind of like that, but on a really small scale. And I'm hoping that will help me a lot. But yeah, anyway, if you have any questions, anything you'd like to ask, write me a comment. But yeah, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.